Hey guys, Gautam, welcome back. So in this video, I'll walk you through how to read a cash flow statement. Okay. See, cash flow statement is arguably the most honest of the three financial statements. Okay? While it is very easy to fudge an income statement, it is very difficult to manipulate a cash flow statement. Okay. So cash flow statement would actually tell you the truth. So let's say if a company is reporting profits very aggressively, so the cash flow statement will tell you, are those profits being backed up by cash flow? Are those profits being backed up by cash? Okay. So those are kind of questions that cash flow statement will answer for you. Okay. And a lot of investors, okay, they just look at uh, sales, EBITDA margin, etc., etc. But they do not spend the time and effort to read and understand the cash flow statement. Okay. So, and maybe also because the cash flow statement at times could be a little overwhelming. Okay. So in this video, let me try to, बहुत आसान तरीके से hopefully by the time you are done with this video, you would be able to read and understand the cash flow statement pretty easily and अच्छे से. Okay. So this video is for budding equity analyst or young investors, okay, or anyone who wants to, let's say, understand a cash flow statement. All right. So with that said, let me go ahead and share my screen and walk you through the how to read a cash flow statement. All right. All right. So let me paint a scenario. Okay, very simple scenario. उससे hopefully अच्छे से clear हो जाएगा. So let's say you want to start a small business, okay, of making candies. Let's say, okay. So what you'll do as a first step, let's say you take ₹1,000 ka loan, okay, and using that ₹1,000 ka loan, you buy a candy making machine, okay, and then, okay, what you do is you go to a supplier. Let's say your friend is a supplier and your supplier friend makes sugar syrup. That friend makes all the raw materials that you need to make candy. Okay. So you go to that supplier. Okay. You take 500 rupees worth of raw material from that supplier friend on credit. आप क्रेडिट में उससे ₹500 का माल ले लेते हो. Okay. Now, the third step, what you do is of the 500 worth of raw material, okay, that you took from your supplier, you use 150 worth of raw material to make candies, okay, and you are also able to sell those candies for, let's say, 500 rupees to a retailer. Okay. मतलब आपने क्या किया, 500 का रॉ मटेरियल लिया क्रेडिट पे, 500 में 150 का रॉ मटेरियल यू यूज्ड टू मेक कैंडीज एंड यू आर एबल टू सेल that 150 का रॉ मटेरियल वाला कैंडी एट 500 रुपीज टू अ कैंडी शॉप, टू अ कैंडी रिटेलर. ठीक है. सो दैट्स अ थर्ड third step. Okay. Fourth is the retailer. Okay. Retailer. So you made a sale of 500 rupees. Okay. So the retailer did not pay you the entire amount up front. Okay. Retailer paid you, let's say, 200 rupees up front, and he said, "Ki, bhai, your candies are new. Okay. So let me see the response. Okay. And then I'll pay you 300 later. Abhi 200 रुपए ले लो. 300 rupees you come back and take later. Okay. And you happily accept the 200 rupees ka payment. And you say ki 300 rupees you will come and take later. Okay. All right. Now let's move forward. Okay. So these four transactions I've pushed in the top left. Okay. Now first let's construct a very simple P&L statement as well. Okay. Before we get to the cash flow statement. Okay. So you did a sale of 500 rupees. Okay. You used up 150 of the 500 worth of raw material. Okay. So what it means is कि आपका cost of goods sold is 150 that you have to net out from the sale. Okay. And then let's say you also used आपका थोड़ा और fixed expense था of 100 rupees. So your total profitability, okay, which is called EBITDA or operating profit, okay, your total profitability EBITDA is 250. ठीक है. All right. So hope this is clear कि why cost of goods sold is 150. ठीक है, because you use 150 of the 500 worth of raw material. Okay. Now let's move forward with the cash flow statement. Okay. So since the candy making machine okay, that you purchase using 1,000 rupees ka loan, let's say candy making machine will last for uh, let's say it will last for 10 years. Okay. So what it means is कि the annual depreciation is 100. What is depreciation? Depreciation से क्या होता है? You are able to spread the cost, upfront cost of the machine. Depreciation मतलब you can spread the upfront cost of the machine over the life of the machine, over the useful life of the machine. Okay. So $1,000 का you purchased. So let's say the useful life of the machine is 10 years. So every year you will you will depreciate the machine by 100 rupees for the next 10 years. Okay. So this year you put in 100 worth of depreciation. Okay. So EBIT, earnings before interest and tax after removing depreciation, is 150. Okay. And also, because you had taken 1,000 rupees ka loan, okay, so let's say you are required to pay 7% interest on that 1,000 rupee ka loan. Okay. So you have to net out or remove the interest expense as well from this profit. Okay. So you net out 70 rupees, you left with 80 rupees. ठीक है. उसको profit before tax बोलते हैं. Okay. Now, let's say the tax is 25%. So tax, after removing for tax, okay, you are left with 60 rupees का profit. So this is your profitability, 60 rupees. ये है आपका profit and loss statement or income statement. Okay. Now, okay, let's construct a very simple cash flow statement. Okay. See, in the cash flow statement, no, there are three, in a cash flow statement, no, it would summarize your cash transactions under three buckets. ठीक है. पहला bucket है cash flow from operations. That's the first bucket. Second bucket is cash flow from investing. Third is financing. So what I mean by cash flow from operations is, so cash flow from operations, okay, this is the money that this is the cash that you make from your core business operations. अपने धंधे से आप कितना कैश कमा रहे हो, एक्चुअल जो आपके अकाउंट में आ रहा है. Okay, that is cash flow from operation. Of course, we'll get into some more detail using this example. Cash flow from investing is as the name suggests, investing. It's the investment that you are making on any assets. In this case, candy making machine. It's the investments that you are making on any assets that you believe will give you benefits over the long term. Okay, all right. क्योंकि मशीन में आपने इन्वेस्ट किया है तो मशीन तो सालों साल चलेगी ना. Okay, तो वो आप क्योंकि any investments that you are doing to, let's say, grow your business, okay, those investments, okay, would fall in cash flow from investing. ठीक है. All right. मान लो अगर आप अपने कोई assets बेच भी रहे हो, okay, so that transaction also would fall here in cash flow from investing. Okay. Then the third bucket is cash flow from financing. Okay. See, to grow your business, to fund your business, you need money, right? You took a loan of 1,000 rupees to start the business. Okay. That is financing. Okay. So you sourced money from somewhere. Okay. So that will fall under financing. Okay. Again, let's understand all of this. Okay. So see, result क्या होगा cash flow statement का? It will tell you कि how much cash you are left with. ठीक है. Profit, so you made $60. That is your reported profit. 60 rupees, sorry, reported profit. But cash flow statement will tell you the actual cash that you're left with. ठीक है. All right. So let's construct this simple cash flow statement. Okay. So you start from profit. That's the amount of money you reported. Okay. Reported profit. Okay. In this profit, you add back depreciation because that's a non-cash expense. Okay. That's a non-cash expense. So we add it back. Okay. Then see, you are yet to receive, if you recall, you are yet to receive 300 from the candy retailer to whom you sold your candies to. उसने 300 रुपए रोक के रख लिए. तो दैट दोस्त 500 का सेल आपने बुक किया लेकिन उसने 300 नहीं दिए कैंडी रिटेलर ने. ओके. तो you, so that 300 is not with you, that is blocked or tied up with your candy, with your supplier, with your customer. Okay. So that 300 rupees you have to remove because that's not with you, that's stuck with tied up with the customer. Okay. So that is also called receivable because that money you have not received yet, although you have booked the sale. तो आप 300 हटा दो. Next is, see, you still have 350 worth of inventory stuck with you, right? If you recall. Okay. Okay. If you look at this third transaction यहाँ पे, okay, so you use 150 of the 500 worth of raw material to make candies. तो 350 का worth of raw material, okay, or 350 worth of inventory is still sitting with you. Okay, वो आपके पास है अभी. Ideally, probably you wanted to turn or sell your entire inventory, but you were unable to. Okay, तो जो 350 का है, that is with you, that is blocking capital. You would have wanted to kind of sell that inventory as well at a certain markup, at a certain profitability, but that is still with you. Okay, abhi. Okay, so that also needs to be removed because that is capital that is tied up in your business. So you remove 350. Okay, now also recall you took 500 worth of raw material, sugar syrup, yeah, etc., etc., okay, from your supplier friend, and you took that 500 worth of raw material on credit. Okay, आपने अभी अपने supplier friend को pay नहीं किया है. Okay, so that 500 is with you. You are yet to pay your supplier friend. So that 500 is with you in the धंधे में है. So you add it back. ठीक है. Now अगर मैं सबको जोड़ दूं, इफ आई एड ऑल ऑफ दैट ना, ओके, सो कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस, जो दैट कैश, ओके, दैट इज विद यू नाउ इज 10 rupees. Although the profitability that we reported is 60, but the actual cash that you have made in your operations is 10. ठीक है. ऑलराइट, तो केवल 10 रुपए आपने, क्योंकि आपका पैसा फंसा हुआ है, योर मनी इज स्टक विद इन रिसीवेबल्स इन इन्वेंट्री. ओके, ऑलराइट. Agar, let's say, if your supplier friend had, sorry, not your supplier friend, if your customer, the candy retailer, had paid you the full amount upfront, ठीक है, so this 300 would go away, and तो आपका कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस हो जाता 310. okay? लेकिन अभी उसने पे नहीं किया है. okay? तो आपका कैश अभी 10 rupees है. okay? So it's lower than the reported profitability. okay? So these three terms, increase in receivables, inventory, payable, na, these three terms, they make up your working capital. This is the increase in working capital that you are netting out, that you are removing from your profitability to get to cash flow from operations. Okay, so I'll repeat. This is the increase in working capital. Okay. In this case, the increase in working capital is 150. If you total all this up, so this 150 you're removing from your profitability and depreciation combined to get to cash flow from operations. ठीक है. वर्किंग कैपिटल का इंटरप्रिटेशन क्या है कि दिस 150, थिंक ऑफ दिस 150 एज अ कैपिटल विच इज टाइड अप इन योर बिजनेस ऑपरेशन. ये पैसा फंसा हुआ है. किस तरीके से फंसा हुआ है? 300 rupees इज टाइड अप विद योर एंड कस्टमर, 350 इज टाइड अप इन योर इन्वेंट्री, आपके पास खुद ही. ओके, यू आर ऑफसेटिंग this blockage of 300 and 350 by this 500 that you are keeping with yourself right now. ठीक है, राइट. तो आपका टोटल कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस 10 rupees है. नाउ लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. ओके, एंड वन थिंग मोर, सी, oh, not this is a simplistic cash flow statement. Right now, I just have receivables, inventory, payables. Receivable and inventory in accounting, they are called receivables and inventory. In accounting, they're called current assets. Payable is called your payable is account payables. Okay, ये बैलेंस शीट में होते हैं. अभी वहां नहीं जाते हैं, लेकिन ये बैलेंस शीट में होते हैं. तो ये करंट एसेट्स है और पेबल इज योर करंट लाइबिलिटी. ठीक है, और करंट एसेट्स और करंट लाइबिलिटी और भी हो सकते हैं ये, लेकिन मैंने सिंपल करने के लिए आपको दिखाया है. केवल ये तीन चीजें ली हैं. ओके, लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग. सो एज द नेम सजेस्ट, you purchase a candy machine worth 1,000 rupees. Okay, so because you purchased it, so that money is not with you, you purchased it, so that's a outflow. So up, so that's going away from you, that has gone away from your business. Okay, that's why you see a negative sign. Okay, so cash flow from investing is minus 1,000. Okay, let's say if you had another asset. Okay, अगर आप कोई और asset है, अगर आप उस asset को बेच देते हो ना, okay, so cash flow from, let's say, selling any of your assets, no, would also fall here. and that would be prefixed with a positive sign because that's money coming in, right? तो और वो यहाँ पे आप इसलिए दिखाओगे, यहाँ पे नहीं दिखाओगे कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस में, बिकॉज लेट्स से इफ यू सेल योर एसेट्स, नो, दैट इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ योर कोर धंधा। ओके, जस्ट लेटिंग यू नो, वो यहाँ पे आएगा कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग। ओके, now let's talk about cash flow from financing. So when you started a business, you took a loan from the bank worth 1,000 rupees. Okay, so that's money coming in. You took a loan, money coming in. Okay, you did not raise any money. या आपने खुद का पैसा कुछ नहीं लगाया, ना आपने कोई पैसा रेज किया। हैड यू पुट इन योर ओन मनी और हैड यू लेट्स से रेज्ड इक्विटी, ओके, सो दैट वुड हैव फॉलन इन द हियर। ठीक है, अगर आप कोई डिविडेंड्स भी दे रहे होते ना, लेट्स से इफ यू आर पेइंग डिविडेंड्स, okay? तो वो डिविडेंड भी यहाँ पे आता कैश फ्लो फाइनेंसिंग में एज अ कैश आउटफ्लो, क्योंकि डिविडेंड तो आपने दे दिया ना, तो वो चला गया बिजनेस से। okay? लेकिन ऐसा कभी फिलहाल नहीं हुआ है कुछ। सो एनीवे, your total cash flow from financing is 1,000. Now, if you add up all the three, cash flow from operations, investing, and financing, okay, the total cash that you're left with is 10. So this is the net change in cash. Okay, so hope you were able to understand. And this cash, 10 rupees, this goes to the balance sheet. ये बैलेंस शीट में चला जाता है। ओके, राइट। सो सी, बिफोर आई पुल अप एन एक्चुअल कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट एंड वॉक यू थ्रू इट, होप आप ये समझ गए होंगे। एंड प्लीज कंपेयर, तो आपको समझ में आया होगा क्या है ये। प्लीज इन योर माइंड, प्लीज ऑलवेज कंपेयर प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स विद कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस। ठीक है, आइडली यू वुड वांट कि यू आर जनरेटिंग अ हायर कैश फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस vis-a-vis द प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी। लेकिन अगर आपका प्रॉफिट ज्यादा रिपोर्टेड है और कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस कम है, इफ योर प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स इज मोर देन योर कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस, ओके, what it means is कि money is getting stuck in working capital like the case in this example, right? That is a takeaway. ठीक है, alright? तो आप किसी भी बैलेंस शीट, किसी भी कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट को यू कैन एनालाइज एंड सी कि मनी वर्किंग कैपिटल में फंस रहा है कि नहीं। कि अगर मनी फंस रहा है ना, अगर लेट्स से इफ अ कंपनी इज स्ट्रगलिंग टू generate a lot of cash flow from operations, and most of the time every year, let's say cash flow from operations is lower than profitability, then you know what the company will have to do, the company will have to take debt or external funding to let's say finance the working capital। कंपनी की वर्किंग कैपिटल नीड इतनी ज्यादा है कि उसको एक्सटर्नल फंडिंग उठानी पड़ेगी इसको फाइनेंस करने के लिए। ठीक है, दैट्स द टेक अवे। ऑलराइट, नाउ लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड। Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you are a young investor or an aspiring equity research analyst and you are interested in learning the skills to thoroughly analyze, research, and value a business, then yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. All right. So let's pick the cash flow statement of let's say Nestle India. Okay, and then let's apply our understanding to uska cash flow statement. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen again. In fact, before we go to the cash flow statement, let's just quickly look at the profit and loss statement. In fact, ये Nestle का P&L statement है. In fact, let's just go straight to the profitability. Okay, so Nestle in last year 2024 they reported a profitability of around 39,000 million rupees. Okay, this year they reported slightly lower profitability of 30,000 rupees in million. ये million में. Okay, now let's just directly go to the cash flow statement. Okay. All right. So this is Nestle India ka cash flow statement that I've pulled in this slide. Okay. So if you see, like any other business, they have structured, they summarize their cash transactions into three buckets: operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. Okay. Now, if you look at this, you may get overwhelmed कि यार अभी तो cash flow statement जो देखा था that was like very simple and इसमें तो इतनी सारी चीजें हैं, and so it's very natural for anyone to get overwhelmed. Okay. So let me try to make it simple and let me try to remove the complexity. Okay. वही चीज है जो हमने डिस्कस किया है, just that more line items. ठीक है. All right. See, let's first look at cash flow from operating. Okay. तो operating में total cash flow from operations जो Nestle has generated total cash from operations. Last year, it was around 41,000 million rupees. This year, it's close to 30,000, just a shade under 30,000. Okay. So Just mota mota what it tells you कि last year they generated healthy cash flow from operations greater than net profitability. This year slightly the cash flow from operations is slightly under the reported profitability, but in a very close ballpark. Okay, तो काफी close है with the reported profitability. Okay, now if we look at all the line items ना, तो you can start with profit. इनफैक्ट प्रॉफिट हमने प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स से स्टार्ट किया था, दे स्टार्ट प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स बट देन दे नेट आउट टैक्स, तो एक तरीके से प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स ही समझ लो. ओके, सो द फर्स्ट आइटम ना, लेट मी यूज अ पेन. द फर्स्ट आइटम इज डेप्रिसिएशन एंड अमोर्टाइजेशन. तो इट इज एडेड बैक, वही चीज है जो हमने करी थी, इट्स एडेड बैक. ओके, देन देर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड प्रॉफिट ऑन प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट इक्विपमेंट विच इज सोल्ड. ओके, तो ये जो पैसा कमाया ऑन सेलिंग सम ऑफ देयर एसेट्स, ओके, दैट इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ ऑपरेशंस जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया था, दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग एक तरीके से. ओके, तो वो आपने उसको रिमूव कर दिया, दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नेगेटिव. नेगेटिव साइन से रिपोर्टेड है. ये छोटा अमाउंट है बट एनीवेज आप समझो. इंटरेस्ट इनकम. नाउ इंटरेस्ट इनकम क्या है? तो any surplus cash that they have, they'll probably sit park in a bank and earn an FD kind of interest. Okay, that again is not a part of their core operations. Okay, so any income that they make, let's say as interest, okay, which is this in this case, okay, 588 million, that needs to be removed from operations. ठीक है, और वो अगेन वो यहां पे आ जाएगा, कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग में आप रिपोर्ट करोगे उसे, तो इसलिए यहां से हटा दोगे आप. ओके, क्योंकि यहां स्ट्रिक्टली ऑपरेशंस की हम बात कर रहे हैं. ओके, सिमिलरली सेम थिंग ऑन गेन ऑन डिस्पोजेबल ऑफ बिजनेस, कि कोई बिजनेस आपने अगेन सेल किया, एसेट सेल किए, सो उससे जो गेन आया, दैट अगेन एज वी डिस्कस वुड गो इन इन्वेस्टिंग एंड नॉट इन ऑपरेटिंग. सो दिस ऑल्सो you would see कि this is reported in investing. That's why you have to remove it. You have to net it out from operations. ठीक है, तो इसी तरीके से यही थॉट प्रोसेस होता है, इसलिए लाइन आइटम जितने ज्यादा दिख रहे हैं, दैट्स हाउ यू शुड रीड इट. ओके, सो एनी विच वेज, बिफोर वर्किंग कैपिटल ना, बिफोर यू काइंड ऑफ गेट टू वर्किंग कैपिटल, दिस इज द दिस इज द टोटल कैश जनरेटेड फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस बिफोर अकाउंटिंग फॉर वर्किंग कैपिटल चेंजेस. और ये जो ये है ना, this is your working capital. Okay, this is the, so if you see, यहाँ पे I have a note. Okay, so if you see 2025, they have an increase in 7,000 million worth of working capital. Okay, this working capital of 7,000 इतना का million has been removed from this amount, this cash flow. ठीक है, जैसे हमने रिमूव किया था वैसे ही इन्होंने भी इंक्रीज इन वर्किंग कैपिटल को इन्होंने दे हैव रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम दिस अमाउंट. ठीक है, ऑलराइट. नाउ देन द क्वेश्चन इज कि यार वर्किंग कैपिटल किस वजह से ज्यादा हो रहा है? तो इनके केस में इफ यू डू अ क्विक स्कैन ना, ये आप स्क्रीनर में भी कर सकते हो, इफ यू डू अ क्विक स्कैन यू वुड सी कि इट सीम्स कि इन्वेंटरी इज ड्राइविंग बल्क ऑफ द इंक्रीज इन वर्किंग कैपिटल. मतलब पैसा फंसा हुआ है इन्वेंटरी में. लास्ट ईयर इतना नहीं था, लेकिन इस साल फॉर सम रीजन money is getting tied up in inventory, so that which is leading to increase in working capital, which you are removing from your cash, because working capital interpretation is that's the money tied up in your business. Okay, so after you remove your overall working capital, then this is the amount you are, this is the actual cash that you have made generated from your core business. Okay, and then when you come to investing activities, so this is the capex, this is the money that you did, let's say in buying some machine, property, plant, very similar to the our example in which we said कि we did 1,000 rupee का capex investment in the candy making machine. ठीक है, and any sale of property plant equipment, any sale of any small business, that is non core activity, so वो investing में आ जाएगा, उससे gain यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. Okay, right. So yeah, and of course in any interest income on any FD या वो सब भी यहीं पे आएगा, कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग. क्योंकि वो पैसा आया है तो वो प्लस पॉजिटिव साइन से रिपोर्ट किया जाएगा. ऑलराइट, सो यू हैव कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग हियर, एंड देन द लास्ट बकेट इज कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम फाइनेंसिंग, कि आप धंधा कैसे फाइनेंस कर रहे हो. ओके, सो यू सी इनके थोड़े मोटे लोन है, ज्यादा लोन नहीं है, इट्स वेरी कैश रिच कंपनी, तो इतना ज्यादा कुछ उधारी लेके नहीं धंधा धंधा चला रहे हैं कुछ. इट्स अ प्रीटी कंपनी दैट्स रन थ्रू इंटरनल एक्रूअल्स. सो यू वुड सी दे डू नॉट रेज एनी इक्विटी, very small short term borrowing they have on their books. Okay, all right. Last time in fact they did not have any borrowing to kind of fund their working capital. इस बार क्योंकि working capital थोड़ा बढ़ा हुआ है, तो उन्होंने थोड़ा सा पैसा बैंक से लिया है to fund their working capital, otherwise उसकी भी जरूरत नहीं थी लास्ट ईयर. Okay, तो कंपनी लार्जली रन्स ऑन इट्स ओन मनी, इंटरनल अक्रूवल्स, कोई खुद के एक्सटर्नल फंडिंग की टिपिकली जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है नेस्ले को। ओके, बट an item that you would see here is dividends paid. To any dividends that they are paying to their shareholders, वो dividend कंपनी से जा रहा है ना, that's an outflow, so that's shown with a negative sign. That's a very high number, 25,000 million worth of dividends they paid. तो ये आपका सिग्निफिकेंट आइटम है इन योर फाइनेंसिंग एक्टिविटी। फाइनेंस मतलब फाइनेंस में वो माल जो आप that money that you're raising externally plus any dividends that you are paying off to your shareholders that also occur in financing activity. Okay, so that's how, so then you sum up the operating, investing and financing cash, and whatever cash you are left with, which is uh, minus 7,000 in this case and minus 1,900 last year, that cash needs to be added to the balance sheet. तो इस केस में क्योंकि नेगेटिव है ओवरऑल कैश, तो वो बैलेंस शीट से रिमूव हो जाएगा। ओके, ऑलराइट। तो दिस इज हाउ यू शुड रीड अ कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट। लेट्स अप्लाई द सेम थिंकिंग, सेम अंडरस्टैंडिंग टू अनदर interesting cash flow statement. Okay, all right. So I have Godrej profit and loss statement pulled up. Okay, so if you see, Godrej reported a profit of around 18,000 CR in 2025. Last year, their profitability was under 600 CR. Okay, that's the profitability. Now, just let's directly jump to the cash flow statement. This is the cash flow statement. Let me increase the zoom a little bit. Okay, so cash flow statement from operating. If you see, if we first take a look at the uh, total cash generated from operating activities, we would see कि total cash generated from operating activities both years is negative. Question immediately comes to your mind कि why it is negative? Cash flow from operation itself is negative. ठीक है, मतलब पॉजिटिव नहीं है, नेगेटिव ही है। ऑपरेशन से कोई धन पैसा ही नहीं कमाया है, आया ही नहीं है। ओके, ऑल्दो रिपोर्टेड प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी काफी ज्यादा है। सो you would see कि if you look at these line items which I'm highlighting, okay, you would see कि there is a working capital problem. Okay, lot of money is getting stuck in working capital. Okay, and what is driving the working capital? इतना working capital कौन क्या item कर रहा है? If you see, there is a lot of increase in inventory. Okay, 7,000. That's the amount of money. 7,000 CR. That's the amount of money stuck in inventory. Okay. In fact, even there are some non-financial and financial assets. Okay, not only inventory, not only so there are some financial, non-financial assets in which also money is getting tied up. तो आपको क्या करना है? You have to scan the balance sheet. Sorry, the balance sheet, and see कि what are these non-financial assets and financial assets. There would be certain notes in the balance sheet that will tell you more detail about these two line items. Okay, because these two line items, along with inventory, are tying up or blocking your cash, blocking up your capital, this is leading to the business having a negative cash flow from operations. Okay. Similarly, cash flow from investing देख लो फटाफट. Okay, you see, if you look at the cash flow from investing, okay, it looks like they have done some investments in purchase of property, plant, equipment, and also they have made some investment in done some other investment, which so we need to research that as well. कि what is this significant investment item? Okay, तो ये again इसका information you will get in balance sheet. The note, there will be a note, तो आपको research करना पड़ेगा और note क्या है. Okay, तो आपको और digging करनी है because there are a lot of केवल स्टेटमेंट्स कुछ नहीं बताएंगे, आपको थोड़ी और मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी to find out what that line item really is. Okay, and then look at cash flow from financing. So if you look at the cash flow from financing, okay, it looks like they are raising a lot of long-term debt. Okay, they're repaying some of it as well. Okay, and then they're also raising money to fund their working capital because they have a huge working capital as well. So they are raising money to fund their working capital as well. Okay, and of course, since they are raising so much of debt, so they need to pay interest to the bank. तो वो इंटरेस्ट भी financing के अंदर आ जाता है. Okay, so see, looking at this cash flow statement, what you basically get to know is that there are areas that need further digging. Okay. You see that this company seems to have a working capital problem. Inventory is one parameter which is driving the buildup in working capital, but there are other couple of other line items as well, which are leading to working capital buildup. So you need to investigate as to what these two factors are. Okay. And you also got to see key, where is the company investing? Because purchase property, plant equipment, of course, you understand, but this line item you need to research as well. Okay. Again, see this, we are doing this mota high in the sky analysis. And then of course, you also get to know that this company is raising money to fund their working capital as well, because this company has working capital challenges. All right. So anyway, this is the quick analysis that you can do. Okay. Uh, read a when you read a cash flow statement. Okay. So hope this video provided some the necessary knowledge that you needed in reading a cash flow statement. All right. Write to me if you have any questions. Thank you. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you are a young investor or an aspiring equity research analyst and you are interested in learning the skills to thoroughly analyze, research, and value a business, then yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. All right. Thank you.